All right, welcome to the RMD U14 Finale. We've got our first forerunner in the gate. We're watching the top of the giant slalom course here on the all-out race trail for the RMD U14 Finale, and our first forerunner is on course.
Forerunner 1, big point.
Our second forerunner is on course. We have 4 forerunners before our first racer today, who will be Lindsay Elliott from Ski and Snowboard Club Vail.
Runner 3 on course.
Our third forerunner on course. All right, all our forerunners are through, and we're ready with our first racer in the start. That's Lindsay Elliott from Ski and Snowboard Club Vail. 2 giant slalom races here today on the all-out race trail.
Copy at the start. We are ready to proceed. We will have
our video today. We won't have full course coverage. There are about 8 more gates after they go out of view onto the lower pitch down to the finish line. But we appreciate you tuning in and watching these great ski racers here on the top part of the course. All right, 10 seconds begins the countdown for Lindsay Elliott from Ski and Snowboard Club Vail. She'll be our first competitor on course. And Lindsay is on course.
First racer 14 on course.
Start gate is Meredith Schmidt, but right now this is Ski and Snowboard Club Vail's Lindsay Elliott setting the pace for skier on course.
Holding 1 interval because we're going to work out something on our hip.
Good clean run for Lindsay. She's now through what we call a pick point and onto the lower pitch as she drops out of view. Again, about 8 more turns on a moderately steep pitch down there. That'll be out of view for us today, but hopefully Lindsay navigates that well.
15 on the next interval.
And we'll get through the finish. We've got Meredith Schmidt getting ready to go. She'll be our next competitor. Out of the start. And here comes Meredith. Meredith from the Powderhorn Racing Club.
First racer through the finish.
15 on, 16.
Taylor Tamblin is in the gate, will be our next competitor, but right now it's Meredith Schmidt dropping into her tuck as she goes onto the flats. This section right in here we call the beach. It's the flattest part of the course, but has some little rollers right in there. So the racers will have to navigate through that delay. Across pick point and onto the lower pitch goes Meredith Schmidt from Powderhorn. Taylor Tamblin will be our next competitor on course. Taylor from the Eldora Mountain Ski Club. Taylor looking strong up here in the top as she goes to her tuck on the flats, carrying good speed. Trying to keep clean skis across those flats. Piper Newell will be our next competitor out of the start. And here comes Piper. Piper Newell from Team Summit. Kendall Kelty from the Loveland Ski Club will be our next competitor out of the start. But right now it's Piper Newell making her way off the first pitch, now onto the flats. Good clean turns down there for Piper. She drops into her tuck right before that delay. A good smooth run for the Team Summit athlete. Now on course, it's Kendall Kelty. Kendall from the Loveland Ski Club. Keeping her upper body facing down the hill, charging hard. Kendall dropping into her tuck. Looks like she's really letting those skis run down there on the flats, trying to keep her speed across the flats, and now onto that lower pitch. Sydney Hanks, our next racer. Sydney from the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club. Sydney hoping to use some local knowledge here. This all-out race trail. The training hill for the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club. There are lights on the hill for training at night. And Sydney Hanks looking strong. A good clean run as she approaches the lower pitch. Out of the start now, Mackenzie Budman. Mackenzie from Team Summit. She's a quick one to watch. Our duels yesterday. Carrying good speed as she drops into her tuck. Mackenzie Budman from Team Summit. Having a strong run. Our next competitor out of the start, Tessa Barbour from Eldora. Tessa had a strong day yesterday with several top tens. She looks like she's skiing well here today. Coming off the first pitch and onto the flats goes Tessa. Into her tuck, trying to be aerodynamic across those flats. Through that red gate, now she's on to the lower pitch as our next competitor out of the gate, Paige Hollinger. Paige from Team Summit. Good turns up top for Paige. Good rhythmic set by Vail's coach, Rob Worrell. Allows them to carry that speed onto the flats. Paige dropping into her tuck. Looking for aerodynamics. Looks like she's carried some good speed onto the lower pitch. Up next now, Sophie Ranallo. Sophie from the Winter Park Competition Center. Good strong turns over outside ski for Sophie. Onto the flat section now, just a couple little rollers there. She's navigated them nicely. Looks like she's running a good direct line with clean turns. Should be a good run for Sophie. Up next, Lily Foss from Team Summit. She'll be followed by Riley Thompson. Lily shaping those turns up above the gate, getting most of the work done above the gate. That allows her to use the fall line to her advantage. Good tactics and good skiing for the Team Summit racer. Now on course is Riley Thompson from the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club. Riley had a good day yesterday, getting some slalom hardware, and it looks like she's skiing well up here on the top. Great for her to be on her home hill. Look at that direct approach onto the flats. Any extra turning there slows you down. It's more work against gravity than you need, and Riley's run may be the most direct line we've seen all day through that flat section. See how it works out for her. Up now, B. Lawrence. He did not race in the slalom, but she knows this GS hill well. Good strong turns up there for B. It looked like she carried good speed through the flats as she works her way onto the lower pitch. We've got a course hold. A slip goes down to get the course in tip-top shape for our next racer, who will be Sophie Dintz. Sophie racing out of Team Breckenridge.
Okay, you'll have to tell those slippers
And here she comes.
they're going too slow. On course.
Sophie Dintz from Team Breckenridge. Good parallel shins up top for Sophie. Good alignment. Now she tries to carry her speed onto the flats. Good looking turns there. You can see just from her body language that she's charging down this hill. That was an all-out run for Sophie on the all-out race trail. Now up is Maisie Martin. Maisie from Ski and Snowboard Club Vail. Doing a nice job up here on this top section. Nice smooth skiing from Maisie. Dancing across the flats down there. Couple little rollers just to keep it fun through that delay for Maisie. And onto the lower section she goes. Our next competitor, Gabriella Vader. Gabriella from Team Winter Park. Gabriella looking strong up here now onto the beach section of the course. It's not so beach-like today. We've got chilly temps, even though the sun's out. The sun's great. The racers can see the hill well. Gabriella, a good solid run. Jessica Bell shot out of a cannon out of the start. She's already halfway down that upper pitch. She's a Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club skier. Looking really fast as she moves onto the flats down there. She knows well those last few turns on the pitch before the flats, super important to carry her speed onto the flats, and she's done well. A good, clean run for Jessica. And down to the lower section she goes as our next competitor, Paloma Stokeld from Winter Park. Leaving the start, our next racer will be Tegan Strain. Paloma, nice and direct in that section. No extra turning whatsoever. She knows she's got to take chances. Try to get up amongst the top skiers here in this RMD U14 finale. And our next competitor pushing out of the start now, that's Tegan Strain. Tegan also from Winter Park. Flying down that upper pitch is Tegan. She had a win in one of the slaloms yesterday. Found herself on the podium multiple times. And that was a good-looking run. I like how she found her tuck. Good and aerodynamic, but still clean turns down there on the flats. Petra Bodum on course now. Petra from the Eldora Mountain Ski Club. Looking sharp in the bright pink helmet. Pink and white suit and into her tuck onto the flats. That was a nice job taking speed onto the flat section. Super important to do well there. It's hard to gain speed on the flats. You want to try to maintain speed on the flats, and she did a great job. Up now is Layla Stokeld. Layla from Winter Park. Stokeld family well represented at these RMD U14 finale races. Ooh, and that was good skiing up there from Layla. Onto the flat she goes now to try to keep it clean. Looking for aerodynamics where she can. But she's got a lot of speed. The faster you're going, the harder it is to find that tuck. Layla looked like she was carrying some good speed. Now it's Kaya Ryder. Kaya from Team Summit. Just smooth skiing for Kaya. She flows down the hill and into her tuck. Kaya Ryder onto the lower section, and out of the start, this is Savannah Thomas. Savannah from Ski and Snowboard Club Vail. Savannah looking strong. Her body language is telling me she's really charging. Everything is moving down the hill towards the finish. Savannah Thomas, a good strong run up on the upper section. Emily Charles, our next racer from Team Summit. She'll be followed by Sienna Almudi. Emily getting those turns done up above the gate helps her achieve good, consistent skiing down this GS course set by Rob Worrell from Ski and Snowboard Club Vail. Emily Charles nicely onto the lower pitch. Our next competitor is Sienna Almudi, another skier from Team Summit. Our final female competitor from Steamboat, Savannah Waters in the gate. Good skiing for Sienna. Up there quickly into her tuck on the flats and still working her skis down there on the flats. I like to see that. Trying to generate speed. Use the backside of those little bumps to get some energy.
We shoot for 11.
Final racer, 13 on course for the women. We'll have a short break.
Savannah Waters. Now on course, Savannah from the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club. And knows the hill. These local racers trying to use that local knowledge. Savannah getting a little bit low down there on the flats. But she is letting the skis run. So it's definitely a mistake. You saw a little snow spray at the bottom, but she was carrying good speed and really getting after it, and that's what you want to see from these racers as that wraps up the women's first race. The men will be underway here in just a moment. You're ready for the boys. Griffin Green Machine Wickstrom will be our first competitor out of Team Summit. And he'll be leaving the start in 15 seconds. How about another 15 seconds for Griffin? Well, I thought we had it clear, but we don't quite yet. Griffin is in the start. All fired up, ready to go. Just waiting for that starting command. All right, now he's got the 10 seconds. And the men's RMD U14 Finale race is live. Griffin Green Machine Wickstrom from Team Summit is on course. He'll be followed by Fritz Gowinas. Right now it'll be Griffin setting the pace. Into his tuck quickly onto the flats. A good first run out of the gate for Griffin. Our next competitor now on course, Fritz Gowinas. Fritz from Eldora. He'll be followed by Jacob Gustafson. Fritz, nice and steady, good rhythm down on the upper pitch. If you're just joining us, the
first race will see the
finish is about 8 gates below where our video ends, as Jacob Gustafson from Powderhorn takes to the course. So we're watching Jacob Gustafson onto the lower section. Freddie Stokold will be our next competitor. Freddie from the Winter Park Competition Center.
10:25, 20.48.
Freddie looking strong. Doing a nice job through that delay, tight on the gates, aggressive approach, got a little bit late there on that red gate right by the coach's knoll, but he did a nice job keeping it in there. Now we've got Leo Kubik, Leo from the Eldora Mountain Ski Club. He'll be followed by Dylan Middledorf from Steamboat. They're doing a nice job up top. Leo had some good finishes yesterday in the slalom and the dual races at Howelson Hill. Quickly into his tuck from Eldora. Leo skiing strong, tight on those poles, bashing those gates. That was good skiing there from Leo. Dorf in the start gate. Oh, we've got. And Dylan on course. Dylan had a strong day yesterday. Quick skier up top. Active and dynamic. Gets some big angles. Likes to get down and low to the snow. Really drive those skis into the snow. Dylan from the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club, past coaches Knoll. Great angles as Dylan moves on to the lower section. Luke Murphy is our next competitor up top. Luke.
17 did not start. 18 on course.
Looking good up here on the top section from Powderhorn, Luke. Into his tuck. Little direct there, had to come back out of the tuck, correct his line, now back into his tuck as he moves through the delay and gets ready for that lower pitch. Calvin Webb will be hot on Luke's heels. Calvin pushing out of the start, up top. Calvin from the Winter Park Competition Center. Calvin Stad Ryan, a top skier from the University of Colorado. Calvin looking like his dad down there, laying those skis over, making some nice angles, getting that turn done above the gate, letting the skis flow across the flats and onto the lower section. Good skiing from Calvin Webb from Winter Park. William Vandeford now on course from the Loveland Ski Club. Bright orange helmet. Makes it easy to follow him down the hill. Skiing really nice. It's a good looking run from Vandeford. And our next competitor now, Colin Bender. Colin from Team Summit. Looking to run a direct line there. You see the skis going a little bit sideways at the top of the turn, a little bit of steering to allow him to run a more direct line as he goes right at the gates. These skiers always playing a balancing act between clean carving skis, less friction, that's faster, but it sometimes requires a rounder line. Colin was opting for the more direct approach, not as clean. Peter Menon from the Ski and Snowboard Club Vail now on course. He'll be followed by Sam Weisinger from Winter Park. Menon quickly into his tuck. Good clean turns. I think Peter likes GS. He's put in some runs here on this all-out race trail. Some Menons have done some training at Steamboat. Sam Weisinger now from Winter Park on course. He'll be followed by Finn Bishop. Weisinger, a competition skier, competition center skier there. Just down the highway from Steamboat. Sam making some nice turns. Past the coaches at Coaches Knoll and on to the lower pitch. Now it's Finn Bishop's turn. Finn from the Eldora Mountain Ski Club. One of the taller skiers in the field today. You see him really able to use that length to create some angles in his turns quickly into his tuck. That was really nice onto the flats there. Super transition. And that just multiplies in terms of the time benefit towards the finish. Finn's going to like that one. He did a great job taking his speed onto the flats. Charlie Haskins now another Eldora skier on course. Charlie also looking good up here. Good edge angles. In and out of his tuck there. The balance between making good clean turns and being aerodynamic. That is some good looking skiing from Charlie Haskins. Jack Whelan now on course. Jack from the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club. Had himself a couple top 10s yesterday in the slalom and dual races at Howelson Hill. See what he can do in GS. Off the upper pitch now, onto the flats goes Jack. Finding his tuck. And to be aerodynamic across the flats now onto the lower pitch as he passes the coaches.
One interval on mid six.
Be a brief course hold, one interval before we send our next racer, Zach Nordlinger. Quick unofficial results update. It was Finn Bishop. We talked about that great transition onto the flats, and Finn is currently our leader in the finish. Charlie Haskins, who started right behind him and also looked really good. Well, Charlie's in second. Here comes Zach Nordlinger. Right now, Zach from the Winter Park Competition Center. Zach had some fast races yesterday and had some bad luck as well. It's flash or crash, as we say for Zach. And it's flashy up here on top. Let's keep it going, Zach. Down to the lower pitch goes Zach. Getting a little hung up right as he goes over that last transition. Save and gets a good finish. Alexander right now on course. Alexander from Eldora. He'll be followed by his teammate Andrew Tamblin. Alexander, nice fluid skiing as he crosses the beach. Right on to the lower section of the course, his teammate Andrew Tamblin quickly out of the start, hammering down this upper pitch. Tamblin into his tuck. Bodie Money will be our next competitor out of the start as Andrew Tamblin carving some nice turns. Look at those edge angles as he lays those skis over, shows the bases to us at the top of the hill. Nice job, Andrew. Bodie Money on course. Bodie from the Winter Park Competition Center. And our final racer, Nathan Gregory, is in the start. Bodie running a good direct line, clean skis, and smooth. Smooth is important. The Winter Park racer. Past the coach is getting a little sideways there. But the hill gets steeper in that section, so you can recover the speed quickly. Let's hope he does. As Nathan Gregory now from Ski and Snowboard Club Vail, our last racer out of the start, but he's going to be one to watch. Took home some hardware yesterday at Howelson Hill. He's quickly into his tuck and carving nice turns in his tuck across the flats there. Nathan, not one of the bigger skiers in this field today, but he makes up for it in skill and good clean turns. Finn Bishop still looks like the leader down at the finish as Nathan Gregory makes his way towards the finish line. That wraps up the first race for the men and women as we look to the finishing time for Nathan Gregory. And Gregory threw in second.
Got the copy at the start. Courses closed.
So our top three for the boys, Finn Bishop in first, Nathan Gregory in second, Charlie Haskins in third, Zach Nordlinger in the fourth place spot, and Dylan Middledorf unofficially in the fifth position. That wraps up our first race of the day here for the RMD U14 Finale. Our second race will start at 11:45. Stay tuned. We'll be right here. Make sure you are back and watching at 11:45 for the second race.
The Winter Sports Club is amazing. It is multi-sports, and it's the only club in the entire country that has as many winter sports as we're able to provide.
I feel like when you ask our kids about their life in Steamboat, their first thing they'll say is, we grew up in the Winter Sports Club.
It's sort of like a second family for me.
The Winter Sports Club, I think, was my upbringing.
I think Howelson and the Winter Sports Club is one of the best places in the world.
It was almost another parent to me. We spent every opportunity we had down at the Winter Sports Club and enjoyed every minute of it.
Coming here after school and being with your friends and your coaches, it's just an awesome experience.
Almost every huge lesson or experience or great moment that has changed them has happened through the Winter Sports Club.
You know, their notion of creating champions on and off the mountain really resonates with me, and I just think it's an incredible opportunity for the boys to be part of that.
Every coach that I've ever worked with, you know, here at Winter Sports Club or see coaches on hill with these kids, from skiing to cross country to jumping to snowboarding coaches, every single one of them brings a large amount of passion and dedication to this sport.
And the culture that they become a part of, again, changes them. And whether or not they're winning or whether or not they want to be an Olympian, they can be the best version of themselves.
We're so fortunate in this town to have so many amazing people help raise these kids.
There's something to be said about growing up in a competitive environment and having the mentors that the SSWSC provided. And you know, I certainly don't think that I would have grown up to be the person that I am today without their influence on my life.
It's so unique and so special, and having seen great places in the world, there's nothing like this.
Really, the Winter Sports Club is appropriate for all kids. Every single kid can benefit from the Winter Sports Club.
Our first forerunner is on course. Race number 2, RMD Finale U14s.
Let's go, Soren.
Forerunner 2 on course.
Play the game. Come on, Elisa.
First forerunner through the finish.
Forerunner 3 on course.
11:44:39.232.
Our third forerunner is on course. Got one more forerunner getting ready to leave the gate. Then we'll be underway with our first competitor.
Forerunner on course will hold for her finish.
Our final forerunner on course. Our first racer will be underway. Just about a minute. It'll be Savannah Waters from the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club.
Forerunner is through the finish.
Copy of the start. We have the first racer, bib 14, in the gate. Next interval, 30 seconds.
Savannah Waters in the start, ready to go.
13 on, 12 in.
Sienna Almoody will be our next competitor out of the start, but right now it's Savannah Waters from the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club setting the pace for our first racer down the hill. Here, race number 2 of Giant Slalom for the RMD U14 Finale. Savannah skiing well. Our next competitor now on course, that's Sienna Almoody from Team Summit. She'll be followed by Emily Charles. Emily Charles pushing out of the gate as Sienna Almoody
42.3.
makes her way down the final pitch. Again, they're about 8 gates after the ski racers go out of view on this all-out race trail. Our next competitor getting ready to go is Savannah Thomas from Ski and Snowboard Club Vail. This is Emily Charles on course, the lower section, breaking over that final pitch. Thomas already almost to the bottom of that first pitch up here. She flew out of that starting gate. putting a nice run together. Kaya Ryder has just left the starting gate. There's Kaya. Savannah Thomas makes her way towards the finish. Savannah Thomas from Ski and Snowboard Club Vail. This is Kaya Ryder. Going past the coach's knoll there and onto the lower pitch, just leaving the start, is Layla Stokel. Layla from Team Winter Park. Layla really flying down this hill. This course set by your coach, Nick Zigich. Petra Bodum will be our next competitor out of the start. Petra's on course with the bright pink helmet, white and pink suit. An Eldora Mountain Ski Club athlete. We'll check the results. Sienna Almoudi, the fastest in the finish, but it's tight. Right now, we watch Petra Bodum onto the lower section of the course. Layla Stokeld has just set the fastest time of the day so far. And the next competitor out of the gate is another Winter Park athlete, Tegan Strain. Tegan skiing strong through the flats, past the coach's knoll and onto the lower section, just leaving the start gate. Paloma Stokeld, another Winter Park racer. Two Winter Park racers on course right now, battling each other. Petra Bodum just came down, finished in second position at the moment. This is Paloma Stokeld from Team Winter Park. Tight to those gates down there. Little roll in this course through that middle section. Next competitor just leaving the start, Jessica Bell from the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club. Here's Jessica. Strong turns up here at the top for Jessica, rounding out that turn through a delay and onto the flats now. That she tries to carry her speed. She looks in that tuck position. Jessica Bell charging hard towards the bottom. She makes her way past the coaches there. Looks like a clean run on the upper section for Jessica. Gabriella Vader, our next competitor. Gabriella just leaving the start. She'll be followed by Maisie Martin. Right now it's Gabriella Vader from Winter Park. Layla Stokeld from Winter Park still holding on to that lead spot right now as Jessica Bell just filled into the third position unofficially at the moment. Maisie Martin pushing out of the start. There's Maisie from Ski and Snowboard Club Vail. So smooth down the upper pitch. Nice round line through that delay coming onto the beach, the flat section on the middle of this all-out race course. Sophie Dintz getting ready to go in the start. Sophie from Team Breckenridge as Maisie Martin makes her way onto the lower section. Past the coaches goes Maisie.
Skipping one interval for bib one.
Onto the lower pitch. Our next competitor will be Sophie Dintz. Team Breckenridge athlete. On course goes Sophie. She'll be followed by bib number 27, B. Lawrence. Sophie had some strong results at Howelson Hill yesterday. Team Breckenridge racer making good turns. Laying those skis over. Doing a good clean turns down the all-out trail. Just behind her, pushing out of the start gate, that's B. Lawrence. Independent racer from Steamboat Springs. B carrying some good speed onto the flats, getting a little bit low on that roller in there. The terrain a little bit more significant in this second race compared to the first. Our next competitor now on course is Riley Thompson from the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club.
25 on course.
Riley looking strong up here on the upper section. Sophie Dintz moved into second position down below as Riley Thompson looks to carry speed on the flats into her tuck. Next competitor, Lily Foss. Her teammates are going wild up here at the start. As Riley Thompson moves onto the lower pitch, Lily Foss heads down that upper pitch. Lily from Team Summit looking solid on the upper section. Sophie Rinaldo getting ready to go at the start from Winter Park, but this is Lily Foss making her way towards the finish. Riley Thompson just through and unofficially into second position at the moment. Sophie Rinaldo from Winter Park is on course. Paige Hollinger will be our next competitor to go. Sophie Rinaldo charging hard, good clean turns. Really trying to get low to the snow there is Sophie. Makes some strong turns, just pushing out of the start. Paige Hollinger from Team Summit. Lily Foss through the finish into fifth position at the moment. This is Paige Hollinger, the Team Summit racer, into her tuck early, coming onto the flats, looking to use aerodynamics to her advantage, minimize that wind drag, be as fast as she can be. As she makes her way to the lower section, pushing out of the start. Just behind her is Tessa Barbour and Paige Hollinger heading to the finish line. Sophie Rinaldo with the top 10 finish at the moment in 7th position. Tessa Barbour from Eldora on the upper section of the course, making her way down. Paige Hollinger heading towards the finish just below us up here. Next competitor out of the start will be Mackenzie Budman. Tessa skiing well as she heads down the lower pitch, and Mackenzie Budman crushing the gates as she comes out of the start. She's fired up and ready to go. Our winner in the duels yesterday at Howelson Hill, into her tuck early on the down to the flats down there. Difficult to be in your tuck and also be clean through that middle section. It's fairly flat, but it is rolly. Sydney Hanks from the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club just now leaving the start as Mackenzie Budman heads towards the finish. Tessa Barbour into 7th position as she crosses the line down below. Again, all of these results are unofficial. Kendall Kelty will be our next competitor out of the start. But right now, this is Sydney Hanks, Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club racer, and it looks like she's putting down a good run. Good, clean skiing for Sydney. Up and over those rolls nicely across the flats. Now she's skiing past the coaches onto the lower section. From Loveland, Kendall Kelty is on course. She's halfway down the upper pitch already. Flying out of the start goes Kendall. Across the finish, Mackenzie Budman clocking in with the 3rd fastest time so far. It's Layla Stokel still holding on to the lead down there. This is good-looking skiing from Kendall Kelty. Loveland Ski Club looking strong. Piper Newell just now pushing out of the start. Here comes Piper. Taylor Tamblin will be our next to go. Kendall Kelty on the lower section. Piper Newell on the upper section. Sydney Hanks was through in 19th fastest. Piper really letting those skis run across the flats, nice and smooth, pushing out of the start. Taylor Tamblin across the finish. Kendall Kelty in 13th position at the moment. Here comes Taylor Tamblin. Up and down, unweighting those skis in the transition. Back onto her outside ski through the turn. Charging hard is Taylor from Eldora. Piper Newell approaching the finish. And our next competitor to go will be Meredy Schmidt. All right, there's Meredy. She just pushed out of the start. Meredy, a Powderhorn Racing Club competitor. Through the finish, Piper Newell into 13th position at the moment. Into her tuck goes Meredy Schmidt. Looking to maintain that speed from the upper pitch that she carried across the flats down there. Nice turns through the beach section for Meredy. Lindsay Elliott, now our final female competitor, has just left the start.
14 on course will hold for her finish, and a slight break while we switch the men's race.
Taylor Tamblin in 16th position as she crossed the line down below. Great to see these girls all getting finishes. Meredy Schmidt approaching the finish line. Lindsay Elliott is who we're watching across the beach right now. Lindsay from Ski and Snowboard Club Vail. Nice smooth skiing for Lindsay as she makes her way past the coaches and starts onto the lower pitch. Lindsay Elliott looks like she's had a good clean run up top. That wraps up our girls' girls' second race. We've got one more run to go. That'll be the boys. We'll be underway with the boys in about 5 minutes.
The Winter Sports Club is amazing. It is multi-sports, and it's the only club in the entire country that has as many winter sports as we're able to provide.
I feel like when you ask our kids about their life in Steamboat, their first thing they'll say is, we grew up in the Winter Sports Club.
It's sort of like a second family for me.
The Winter Sports Club, I think, was my upbringing.
I think Halison and the Winter Sports Club is one of the best places in the world.
It was almost another parent to me. We spent every opportunity we had down at the Winter Sports Club and enjoyed every minute of it.
Coming here after school and being with your friends and your coaches, it's just an awesome experience.
Almost every huge lesson or experience or great moment that has changed them has happened through the Winter Sports Club.
You know, their notion of creating champions on and off the mountain really resonates with me, and I just think it's an incredible opportunity for the boys to be part of that.
There you go.
every coach that I've ever worked with, here at Winter Sports Club or see coaches on hill with these kids, from skiing to cross country to jumping to snowboarding coaches, every single one of them brings a large amount of passion and dedication to this sport.
And the culture that they become a part of, again, changes them. And whether or not they're winning or whether or not they want to be an Olympian, they can be the best version of themselves.
We're so fortunate in this town to have so many amazing people help raise these kids.
There's something to be said about growing up in a competitive environment and having the mentors that the SSWSC provided. And I certainly don't think that I would have grown up to be the person that I am today without their influence on my life.
It's so unique and so special, and having seen great places in the world, there's nothing like this.
Really, the Winter Sports Club is appropriate for all kids. Every single kid can benefit from the Winter Sports Club.
We're back. Nathan Gregory from Ski and Snowboard Club Vail on course. Bodie Money will be our next competitor out of the start. Gregory hammering down there, aggressive line in his tuck. Oh, in trouble just as he goes out of view for Nathan Gregory from Ski and Snowboard Club Vail. Bodie Money from Winter Park is now on course. Following behind Bodie, Andrew Tamblin. Here comes Andrew. Andrew from the Eldora Mountain Ski Club. Andrew Tamblin skiing strong across the beach. Our next competitor on course, it's Alexander Wright. Eldora through the finish. Down to the bottom so far, Nathan Gregory by just 0.3 of a second. Our current leader at the finish, Alexander Wright from Eldora. On to the lower section, and right behind him, it's going to be Zach Nordlinger. Winter Park Competition Center. Zach looking strong up here, really laying those skis over, using that long frame of his to create lots of edge angle. Now quickly into his tuck across the flats. That was a good upper section for Nordlinger. And just behind him, leaving the start, is Jack Whelan. Nordlinger now on to the lower section.
Timing 6.
Nathan Gregory still holding on to that lead, and unfortunately for Nordlinger, he goes out on the lower section, out of view from us. This is Jack Whelan from the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club. Jack charging hard towards the finish, shaping those turns up above the gates, across the flats there. See his line a little bit higher than his other competitors. Charlie Haskins pushes out of the start. We'll follow Charlie down now. Charlie's from the Eldora Mountain Ski Club. Good looking turns up here for Charlie. Good, efficient transitions. All running direct down there, getting thrown a little bit low on those rolls. They're a little bit more distinct. Those breakovers here on this second run course set. Right behind him, here comes Finn Bishop. Finn Bishop from Eldora had a great first race today. Is he going to put down another fast one? We'll see. Jack Whelan skis into third. Down below, Charlie Haskins making his way towards the finish. Finn Bishop looks like another good run, judging by the top part of his course. Is Winter Park Sam Watzinger getting ready to go up top. Here comes Sam out of the start. Team Winter Park racer. Across the finish, Charlie Haskins is our new leader. As we watch Sam Watzinger from Winter Park, Peter Menon from Ski and Snowboard Club Vail will be our next competitor to go. Finn Bishop down at the bottom taking the lead from his Eldora teammate. Going out of view, that was Sam Watzinger, and now Peter Menon from Ski and Snowboard Club Vail on the upper section of the course. Peter, a good strong skier. Driving his shoulders down the hill, looking to push himself, hurdle himself towards that finish line. Peter Menon with a nice upper section. Our next competitor out of the start, Colin Bender. Colin from Team Summit. Colin likes hitting the gates. He's getting tight. He's getting wild and crazy up here on the top section as he moves into his tuck through that delay that's right before the flats. Now he's on the flatter middle section. Sam Watzinger into 8th position down below. Oh, and a little too straight for Colin. And he is out. Tough break for Colin Bender. Bib number 20, William Vandeford, now on course. William from the Loveland Ski Club. He'll be followed by Calvin Webb from Team Winter Park. Peter Menon, 5th fastest down there at the finish. Unofficially at this point. William really letting it run. Loveland Race Club skier doing a nice job. And here comes Calvin Webb from Team Winter Park. Calvin laying those skis over, makes his way through the delay that sets up all the speed for the flats. Now he's onto the beach section. Can he carry that speed? This course set by his coach, Nick Zigich.
I have a racer down at the finish.
Running nice and direct
17 on course, or 19
is Calvin.
18 holding in the gate.
Looked like a good run up on the upper section as we see how he runs down to the lower part of the course. William Vandeford through the finish at his 6th fastest time so far. Our next competitor out of the start will be Luke Murphy from the Powderhorn Racing Club. Got a brief course hold here before we send Luke Murphy. Calvin through the finish, 9th fastest time so far. Our current leader, Finn Bishop. He's put down a couple fast runs on this all-out race trail.
Right, start is clear. We have 18 on the next interval.
And Luke Murphy moving into the gate, getting ready to go. As the start countdown clock gives him 10 seconds. Here comes Luke Murphy.
18 on course.
Luke from Powderhorn Racing Club. He'll be followed by Dylan Middledorf from Steamboat. Getting thrown a little bit by that first bump up there. Luke is really charging, getting pushed a little bit late. Sometimes that's all right on the flats as long as you can keep it clean. And Dylan Middledorf absolutely hauling out of the start.
25.
This kid attacks, full attack mode all the time. Dylan Middledorf from the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club. He's a little guy, but he really hammers into his tuck down there, staying low, trying to be aerodynamic across the beach section for Dylan.
Did you leave his pole at the start, or is it in the track somewhere? Yep.
And he left his pole at the start. That was great skiing, considering, Dylan. A little more challenging to finish with one pole. Leo Kubik, now on course, Leo from Eldora. Fast racer, these two both could be in contention for some of those top spots on the podium. Blue crossed in 7th position as Leo really attacking those gates up there out of the start. Our next competitor, that's Freddie Stokel. This is a fast group right now. Onto the course, Dylan, 3rd fastest at the finish at the moment, but we got some fast boys behind him. Here they come. This is a good looking run from Freddie. Freddie from Team Winter Park, this course set by his coach, Nick Zigich. He's got a little bit more speed through there. The gate's a little bit closer together, a little quicker. And Freddie did a nice job. Now on course, it's Jacob Gustafson from Powderhorn as Leo Kubik crosses the finish in 2nd position. Finn Bishop still holding on to that fastest time. Jacob Gustafson, it's his turn now. Really attacking up there, did a nice job in the transition from the upper pitch onto this middle flats, where he's at right now, into his tuck. Good and aerodynamic for Gustafson as Fritz Gowinas gets ready to go out of the start. Here comes Fritz across the line. We've got a new leader at the bottom. Freddie Stokel just set the fastest time of the day by a half second. Griffin Green Machine Wickstrom, our final competitor in the start, but right now we're watching Fritz Gowinas from Eldora and Griffin Green Machine Wickstrom. On top. You heard the crowd going wild for Griffin as he pushes out of the start. Our final racer is on course. Gustafson into 9th position. See if that'll hold for a top 10. Again, all these results are unofficial, but right now it's Griffin Green Machine Wickstrom from Team Summit, our final competitor in these RMD U14 Finale Giant Slalom races. Tight on those gates. Charging his way down the hill. Oh, and Griffin goes down on his side. His skis up over his head just as he makes his way onto the lower pitch. That was a tough break for Griffin. That's going to wrap things up for this year's RMD U14 Finale. Thanks for tuning in. Great job from all the athletes.
The Winter Sports Club is amazing. It is multi-sports, and it's the only club in the entire country that has as many winter sports as we're able to provide.
I feel like when you ask our kids about their life in Steamboat, their first thing they'll say is, we grew up in the Winter Sports Club.
It's sort of like a second family for me.
The Winter Sports Club, I think, was my upbringing.
I think Halcyon and the Winter Sports Club is one of the best places in the world.
It was almost another parent to me. We spent every opportunity we had down at the Winter Sports Club and enjoyed every minute of it.
Coming here after school and being with your friends and your coaches, it's just an awesome experience.
Almost every huge lesson or experience or great moment that has changed them has happened through the Winter Sports Club.
You know, their notion of creating champions on and off the mountain really resonates with me, and I just think it's an incredible opportunity for the boys to be part of that.
Every coach that I've ever worked with, you know, here at Winter Sports Club or see coaches on hill with these kids, from skiing to cross country to jumping to snowboarding coaches, every single one of them brings a large amount of passion and dedication to this sport.
And the culture that they become a part of, again, changes them. And whether or not they're winning or whether or not they want to be an Olympian, they can be the best version of themselves.
We're so fortunate in this town to have so many amazing people help raise these kids.
There's something to be said about growing up in a competitive environment and having the mentors that the SSWSC provided. And you know, I certainly don't think that I would have grown up to be the person that I am today without their influence on my life.
It's so unique and so special, and having seen great places in the world, there's nothing like this.
Really, the Winter Sports Club is appropriate for all kids. Every single kid can benefit from the Winter Sports Club.